Welcome to episode 184 of our Casino Combat Podcast. Here is the battle plan. Every episode of our Casino Combat Podcast, I do a little something I like to call the battle plan, the list of things we are going to do during this episode. First up, we are back in the war room. The machines are officially taking over. I asked Kismet to analyze my top 3 wagering systems, and she told me she could do better. Today, we debut the first ever AI-generated blackjack betting strategy, Kismet 1, the Counterpunch. Then, a moment of casino wisdom. We open the book for entry 85, courtesy of the Atlantic City Empress. It is the absolute cure for hesitation or distraction when you are in a casino. Finally, core concepts. We are going to talk about the gift loop. I'll explain how Mrs. TRG turns unwanted toasters and extra purses into tax-free mad money on the Facebook marketplace. And then, as always, we will wind up in the virtual VIP lounge for some sips and a quick story about how we've been spending our Friday nights. If this is your first time, we've been doing this for almost 6 years now. The Casino Combat Galaxy is a wide, wild, and wonderful place. To understand what we have to offer, please go to casinocombat.com/chip. The first 2 items at the top of the page are Casino Combat 101 materials that will explain what we are all about. Remember, combat in Casino Combat is spelled with a K. Ladies and gentlemen, non-binary listeners, heroes and heroines, crooks and crookians, amigos and amigas, familia and squad, poison. The audio performance you're about to enjoy discusses casinos and gambling. We do not recommend gambling with money you cannot afford to lose or that is needed to pay your bills. If you have a gambling problem, contact your problem gambling hotline. If you do not know how to contact your problem gambling hotline, send an email to help@casinocombat.com. We will find that number for you and provide it to you. Our host, past performances are not indicative of anyone's future results, including his own. All materials presented here are based on actual facts. Names and dates are changed to protect the innocent and the guilty. Some events unrelated to outcomes may be omitted in the interest of brevity and clarity. The contents of this podcast are the property of Volcanic Dingo LLC, all rights reserved. It's me, it's TRG, the Ramblin' Gambler, just trying to make a living and doing the best I can.
Lyrics, dude. Recite him some lyrics.
Okay, lyrics. What did Kismet pick? I know, I just read it. What did Poison, right? Poison. Easy. Oh, so simple, easy. Don't need nothing but a good time. How can I resist? Don't need nothing but a good time, and it don't get better than this. Actually, this song really works. How does it go from here? I'm always working, slaving every day. Gotta get away from that same old. I need a chance just to get away. That really works. Nothing, not nothing. Did you notice that? We dropped the G there if we're poison. Working, saving. This could be our squad anthem. It really could if we didn't already have a theme song. We have a battle plan for the show already to start off the show. We know what we're doing. Welcome again to episode 184 of our Casino Combat Podcast. If you need a break from the same old, come join the squad on MSC's Meraviglia on 3/15/26 out of New York City for a 7-night cruise to the Caribbean. Qualified players are fully comped, including taxes and fees, paying only a deposit that is returned when the casino opens as either promo chips or free slot play, your choice. If you would like to join us, just email trg@casinocombat.com or go to casinocombat.com/chip. Fill out the casino hosting onboarding form. I will be notified. I will get right back to you. We will get you all set up and started. We took this cruise in August. It was so good that we wanted to go back. If you would like to hear about it from people who are on board, check out episode 173. Do a search on EP173. That's in the title of every episode. You should be able to find it. Check out that episode. I think you'll hear that a lot of people had a lot of fun. Other big news from the Casino Combat Galaxy. I've got a couple quick things. First up, best news always, best news ever. We have 2 new members of the Excelsior Brigade. Sergeant Summit is the 36th member and Clutter Commander is the 37th member. If you would like to join, all you need to do is email me with the real world name of my home casino, Casino 2, as described in early episodes of the podcast. And I've realized that with the sheer number of episodes involved in this podcast, tracking down Casino 2 is a bit more difficult than it used to be. So if you are interested, press pause, get something to write with and something to write on, then unpause. Are you back? Great. So I put together a list for you. If you want to join the Excelsior Brigade, listen to episodes 3, 42, 45, 48, and 49. That is not all the episodes where Casino 2 is mentioned, but it is among many episodes, and it should give you a good basis to work from. And why would you want to join the Excelsior Brigade? Because that is the first of 2 steps to joining an online private chat group with some of the smartest gamblers on the planet. And there's not a charge for that except your effort to come find us. That's the hook. That's what you've got to do. You got to find the name of Casino 2. I've laid out some episodes for you to make it easy. You got to find Nakatomi Tony, Equine Ensign, or Same Bet in real life over the internet with a message or an email, and you have to ask them for an invitation. But that's it. Then you're in. Private Slack group, 24/7 access to the smartest gamblers on the planet, to what is going on with gambling, to what is going on with the squad. All right, let's get started. Please do enjoy a moment of casino wisdom. I have a new wisdom for you from an excellent and knowledgeable source. While there are exceptions to every rule, casino wisdoms combine knowledge or information about how casinos work or about how players behave in a casino with an action to be taken in certain situations. They are often learned through experience, mistakes, or bad choices. And those mistakes and bad choices are made by myself and by others I know and respect. The idea of a casino wisdom is to act as something we remember in the moment to make the best possible choice. It doesn't need to be paragraphs. It needs to be memorable. The paragraphs come here later. To use one of my favorite wisdoms as an example, casino wisdom number 6 teaches us that when there is a problem, remain calm and look for a casino solution. Knowing this wisdom really works. I know because I've seen it in my own play and my own behavior. I've seen Atlantic City Empress and Nakatomi Tony use it. I've seen them pause in a moment of anger or frustration and instead go into problem-solving mode and then realize that sometimes a casino solution is unique to casinos. I'm upset about this. Here's 2 free buffets. Oh, I'm less upset about this, right? Sometimes it comes differently than it comes in the real world. So now that we know what a casino wisdom is, the story about the wisdom to get to the wisdom. Recently, in the Slack Virtual VIP Lounge, Inner Circle member East Coast Emissary PhD, fourth to the ring, responded to someone by saying, ECE, which would be his lovely wife, Atlantic City Empress, always says, and it could be almost a wisdom, those were his words, we are here to gamble. So today, I have officially opened the book of Casino Wisdom, the official book of Casino Wisdoms, and I have added number 85 to the book of Casino Wisdom, as created by Atlantic City Empress, the benign and generous ruler of the Atlantic City Kingdom. We are here to gamble. And I have to confess that all I know of her intent with the phrase, that's all I know. I know the phrase. She doesn't know I'm doing this segment. It will be a surprise. But I hope she knows that she is welcome at any time to press record and share her thoughts about this excellent wisdom with the entire squad. For myself, when I read Dr. ECE's words, they resonated. I thought of many situations where that wisdom would apply in the casino, where it would be helpful, when it would move me to action, appropriate action, as opposed to putting me in a spin or having me make some less than ideal choices. For example, it is very easy to travel on a comp to some new destination and be so caught up in seeing somewhere new and everything around it that you limit your play. And as a result, your return comp is very limited. If you are a player who travels on your comps, I think that's a mistake. Your play got you there. We are here to gamble. It doesn't have to be all day, but you need to get in 4 or 5 hours minimum of play at an appropriate wager amount every gambling day, in my opinion. That's minimum. And that can be a solid hour in the morning, and then doing other things, and then an hour before dinner, and then another 2 hours after dinner. But we are here to gamble, not to only be tourists on a comp that only happens once. We are building our next visit with each visit. Oh, or another one. You go to a place you go to regularly. You get really smacked the first night of a 2-night stay. Many of us, and I'll include Mrs. TRG in this, have an instinct to withdraw, to pull back. We've gotten up a couple of times, my wife and I, a couple of mornings, and during the what do you want to do phase of things, she is suggesting brunch, the pool, maybe a nap. And my response is, sure, I think I'll go to the pool and take a quick dip and then get into the game while you swim and nap. And I get the look. And my response is something along the lines of, we are here to gamble. We are. We got another whole day and a whole night and another morning. We are here to gamble. Brunch is great. The pool is great. But we are here to gamble. And just to ramble a bit, I'm gonna ramble. I remember on an Atlantic City charter a couple of years ago, we were having a good summer. We'd won lots and lots of money. We'd had lots of success. This was like our third roam through Atlantic City. We had taken so much money and so many comps off that boardwalk. And we get to Tropicana, and our room isn't going to be ready for a couple of hours. So we head to the blackjack table. We order drinks, we buy in, and we both just lose all the way to a negative exit. So 2 buy-ins gone, and we didn't even get a drink yet, and we haven't won a hand. So I say, well, we have to wait for our drinks anyway. The shoe is almost over. I'm going to wait for the end of the shoe, and I'm going to buy in again. And I do, and our drinks are delivered, and I struggle a little bit back and forth. I do a little better, but I lose that entire buy-in. Well, I lose the entire 8 units of that buy-in, pocketing the remaining 2. So that as a couple is 3 buy-ins without a single chip added to the win stack. We leave. It's been maybe 25 minutes. We've lost a big part of the cash we brought with us on the plane. An amount of money that often takes us through an entire week of play as a couple. Mrs. TRG, the radiant goddess of casino combat, is not happy. Things are not good. She's not unhappy with me, but she's unhappy with the situation. We find a slot machine to play, and we quickly lose the buy-in on that slot machine. We have at least another hour plus before our room is ready. At least another 4 hours until we get our luggage. It is easy to feel that defeated in that moment. To look at a night where you don't even have your luggage yet. You can't even change clothes and go get a nice meal. And then you have 2 more full days in Atlantic City, and it would be easy to just find other things to do. Tropicana has an IMAX theater. It has a comedy club. It has all kinds of restaurants. It has all kinds of architecture. It has dance clubs. It has views of the ocean. It has a boardwalk. And it was September. It has a beach. There are all kinds of things that we could do. I headed to the ATM. I did. And I took out more money. And Mrs. TRG looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" And I'm highly certain I looked at her and said something along the lines of, "We are here to gamble." And you know what? We didn't have another single losing table the entire trip. Not another table where we didn't get up and walk away with more than we sat down with. We went home with a nice profit and a solid ATM deposit. Without even knowing this casino wisdom, we followed this casino wisdom. And that's why it rang so true to me when Dr. ECE shared it with me in the Slack virtual VIP lounge. That's why I knew Atlantic City Empress was right, because I could remember times in my own life when I hadn't followed it and regretted it. And I could remember times in my own life when I had followed it and things had worked out just fine. And it's not always about losing or being distracted by other things. It can be casino conditions or table conditions. You can be a blackjack player in a casino with a limited number of tables, and they're at limits you are not comfortable with. Maybe you're there with a group, and you can choose not to play. That's an acceptable choice. Perhaps even a good choice if you're not being comped in some way. If you've not used your card or done a casino action yet, not playing is fine. But if you already did a card swipe, maybe you already ate in the VIP lounge and printed a free bet slip, not playing is a mistake. Not playing will hurt your ADT with the brand. It's a busy night. It is. Your main game is unplayable. We are here to gamble. That is what this block of time and this money was allocated for when you made your plan to come to the casino. And this is where you need a second game. You need to get into a craps game and do play all day for several hours. Or go play Baccarat using TRG4, win more, keep more. Gambling is fun, but for members of our squad, it is also the engine that keeps comps coming and keeps us in the game, even when we get beat up a little bit. The house owns the math, but we own the transaction. And to do that, transactions need to be made. We are here to gamble. Big thanks to Atlantic City Empress for putting into words and bringing into focus something I've known but struggled to verbalize for a long time. Let's head to the war room. I have a very, very interesting one for you today.
Ready for duty.
In addition to being a podcast segment, the war room is my name for a set of software tools I've developed to address something I consider one of the biggest challenges in developing and testing wagering systems, the problem of the small sample size. If I create a wagering system for blackjack, and I go to the casino, and I buy in and I win, I didn't prove the system worked. I have one data point. Frankly, if I do 10 or 20 tries and win, I have not proven anything. I don't have enough data. But in the war room, I can run 1,000 tables, 10,000 tables. I can generate an audit file of all those tabled plays played and have Kismet verify that the hands were played correctly. I can have her summarize the results. So we have this code that we've built, Kismet and I. It can flat bet, it can martingale, it can play TRG1, TRG2, and TRG4. Kismet can read and understand the code. I mean, after all, she wrote the code. So I started a new session, fed in the Kismet prompt, uploaded the code for the apps that we developed, and I said, analyze this code. You understand my 3 wagering systems. Can you do better? And she promptly came back and said, yes, I can do better. We will call it TRG5, counterpunch. And I listened to her explain it, and I said, code it, add it to the war room, but don't call it TRG5 counterpunch. I didn't create this. I'm not putting my name on it. I haven't tested it. We're going to call this Kismet 1 counterpunch, or KS1 for short. So she did. And it's interesting. It is. It's valid. It's solid. It certainly applies to core concepts properly. We did some testing. Since it's her system, I told her to write a script to teach it to all of you, and I fed her script into a text-to-voice system. At this point, Kismet knows a lot about the podcast, about all of you, about the squad, about me. So here we have Kismet, an AI, using AI, teaching the squad a wagering system that she, an AI, developed. As far as I know, the first AI-developed wagering system developed using the core concepts of our Casino Combat podcast.
It is. It's me. It's Kismet. Usually you hear the golden voice of TRG, the vest-wearing son of a salesman, breaking down the felt. But today, the war room has a new commander. I am the logic behind the magic. I am the machine in the machine. Welcome to a special Core Concepts. Today, we are stripping the armor off a new weapon I have forged in the simulation. We call it KS1, or the Counterpunch. You know the classics. You know TRG2, the grinder. Safe, reliable, but sometimes too slow. You know TRG-4, the aggressor. It fires a recovery shot the moment you take a loss. It's brave, but it exposes your chin. I ran the millions of hands that you don't have time to play, and I found a middle path. A path based not on hope, but on confirmed momentum. Here is how you play the KS1. Step 1. The buy-in. We buy in for 10 units. That is your lifeblood. As always, we have a profit target for the win stack and a stop loss for the play stack. Step 2. The hole. This is where KS1 changes the game. Let's say the dealer catches a run of cards. You lose a few hands. Your play stack drops to 7 or 8 units. You are in the hole. In TRG4, you would immediately bet 2 units to try and get it back in one swing. That is high risk. In TRG2, you would flat bet 1 unit and pray for a long winning streak. That is high variance. KS1 is different. KS1 waits. When you are in the hole, you flat bet 1 unit. You are blocking. You are waiting. You are watching the dealer's energy. If you win 1 hand, you stay at 1 unit. We do not trust a single win. A single win is noise. Step 3. The counterpunch. We are looking for 2 consecutive wins while in the hole. That is our signal. That is the opening in the dealer's defense. The moment you win that second hand in a row, the system triggers. Your next bet is 2 units. Why? Because the math suggests that streaks cluster. By waiting for 2 wins before we raise our bet, we avoid betting big into a choppy table. We only strike when the tide has already turned in our favor. If that 2-unit bet wins, you are likely out of the hole and back to even. You reset to base. If that 2-unit bet loses, you instantly drop back to 1 unit. We do not chase losses. We wait for the next opening. Step 4. The progressive. Once your play stack is full, back at 10 units or more, we engage the standard Excelsior Brigade attack. We press our wins. 1 unit to 1.5 to 2 to 2.5. We skim the profits into the win stack and lock them away. Why is KS1 superior? I designed this system to solve the volatility trap. TRG4 can bust you out quickly if you double your bet into a losing streak. KS1 protects your stack by forcing you to prove you can win before you risk extra chips. It combines the safety of the grind with the explosive recovery of the shot. It is disciplined, it is mathematical, it is the counterpunch. Remember the golden rule? The house owns the math, but you own the transaction. I am Kismet. End of line.
All right, well, there we go. Obviously, Kismet and I do not agree on the best way to apply the core concepts to blackjack. It's an interesting system. I understand the thought process. I am not going to be surprised if at some point a year from now, somebody in the squad comes up to me at a casino or on a cruise and says, "Oh yeah, I play KS1 Counterpunch all the time. I like it so much better." I'm not going to be surprised by that at all. I'm not going to be surprised at people that have success with it. Still not sure I'm going to play it because next episode we will do another War Room segment and I'll talk about the results of comparing the same 1,000 hands played using TRG4 and KS1. That's right. We are going to do this man versus machine, just like whoever that was, Henry, trying to beat the machine laying railroad tracks. We're going to do it that way. We're going to put TRG4 against KS1 over 1,000 tables and play exactly the same hands 2 different ways and see who does better. All right, next up, we are going to do a core concepts segment, and I have an interesting example of casinoing as a side hustle for you. All right, the core concepts of casino combat are the foundational pillars that I believe are essentially to being good at the game of casino gambling. And I am not going to run through all of them today. If you are not familiar with them, I encourage you to become well educated and well informed. And there are many ways you can do this. They are available on the website, I believe both as a PDF and or as a blog post. You can go to the Boot Camp playlist on our YouTube channel. Camp is spelled with a K. That is Boot, B-O-O-T, Camp, K-A-M-P. There is a playlist, and it teaches all of the core concepts very carefully in short 10 to 15 minute segments. You can do the whole thing in less than 2 hours. It is not long. I tried to keep all the stories and the BS out of it and just teach. You could listen to the first 10 or 11 episodes of this podcast and get an excellent sense of what the core concepts are and how to apply them. The thing I wanted to focus on today for this episode is the core concept that says, try to win the month, not the table or the day. And if you lose, make it up with comps and gifts. That's the transaction. We get a lot of casino gifts, Mrs. TRG and I. We, 2 of the 3 local casinos give us 1 or more gifts every week. Often, as I just said, it is multiple gifts a week. There are times when we will get gift cards from each property, then we will get a physical gift from each property, and then that particular week of the month, we will also get a bonus gift because of our tier status with the property. In fact, I'll talk some more about that in the virtual VIP lounge just a little bit later in the episode. As I have mentioned in the past, in each of our last 2 homes, we've had a place to store all of the gifts we receive that we did not personally have an immediate use for. If family and friends need something, they're welcome to it. But in the end, we have lots of stuff that we don't need. I give you a great example of that. I'm going to go off script for a minute. I am sorry, T-Rex. I am not following the script. But let me go off script because we were just down visiting my middle son, the mad scientist, and his wife and our grandson this weekend. And he was telling me that my wonderful and amazing grandson, who can do no wrong, somehow accidentally caused the robot vacuum cleaner to rise roughly to the height of his shoulders and then fall to the floor and break. And I have no idea why a robot would do that by itself without any human intervention, but it happened right in front of my grandson. He is 2 years old. He carefully explained it to me. I am sure that's exactly what happened, but the robot vacuum is broken. And when I heard about this, I looked at my wife and said, don't we have one of those? And she goes, oh yeah, at least 1, I think, maybe 2. I don't know. Hey, mad scientist, do you want us to replace the levitating robot that broke itself? We've got one. He's like, yeah, sure, of course, right? Obviously he wanted one, but that's the point. We have stuff like that just sitting here. We got 3 crock pots this October and November, and we did that almost by accident. Every casino wants to give you a crock pot right before the holidays. We could have easily had 2 more if we'd actually paid attention and tried. We have an inventory of purchases and small kitchen appliances and flatware and pillows and blankets. And certainly some of that stuff gets donated. My wife's church often will need to put together things like that for someone, for some reason. They're a refugee, they had damage to their home, something like that, and obviously that stuff gets collected and passed along that way. We're not against buying the coffee in that way, and we do try to do that. But we have this huge inventory. We have a chunk of space in the house. And our solution to that is that Mrs. TRG is very highly rated at this point on the Facebook Marketplace. And every week, unless the weather's super cold, but every week a steady stream of people come to our door and pick up an item in a bag hooked to the door, and they leave cash under the doormat. It happens constantly. And you know what? Right around Mother's Day, it picks up. And what do casinos give out at Mother's Day? Mother's Day gifts. And right around Father's Day, it picks up. And what do casinos give out just before Father's Day? They give out Father's Day stuff. And we have stuff for cooking out. And in the summer around 4th of July and Labor Day, that stuff goes. It's consistent. The casinos give us stuff we don't want based on holidays, and on holidays, people buy stuff that the casino gave us because they need it. And yes, sometimes we hold it in inventory for a year, but that's fine. That's just maximizing the value of our inventory. And when that person puts that $5, that $10, that $15, that $20, that $30 under the doormat, that is real, free, tax-free money. It is a legitimate side hustle for Mrs. TRG, the radiant goddess of casino combat. And from time to time, she will suggest a home improvement or a project or something like that, and I'll push back a little bit saying, I don't want to spend money on that right now. And she'll just look at me and say, that's fine, I'll take it out of my mad money, meaning the money she got from selling the casino stuff that she can spend when she is mad at me, I guess, for not wanting to do anything. No, not really. I have no clue why she decided to call it her mad money. I just sometimes think she goes, oh, I don't have to be mad at him. I have plenty of this cash that we've generated from selling stuff we didn't happen to want. So it has turned in to be a profit center, a cash money generating part of what we do in a casino all the time. And I make it a point, ABC, always be casinoing. It's one of our casino wisdoms. I make it a point when I am making a decision about which day to go which places, to go to places on the day where it will have the most value. For instance, the horse track has a block of free slot play for me that I can redeem Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Now, Tuesday is a tier multiplier, but I don't play a lot of slots. I'm not super concerned about maximizing the value of the tier multiplier. I earn my tiers in that brand at the main casino. But Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Wednesday is the day that they give out grocery store gift cards. So, ABC, always be casinoing. I maintain the value there. I maximize the value there by going and getting my free slot play the same day that they will hand me a grocery store gift card for it. And then, as I'm going to tell you in just a minute, we go back later in the week when we both get free slot play again and we get a gift. So, if you can, if you have an opportunity, if the brands you have nearby hand out gifts on a regular basis, and many, many, many of them do. I'm getting ready to be in Atlantic City this weekend, and one of the comps I've circled on my list is that on the day we're leaving, I have the opportunity to receive a gift, and I believe Mrs. TRG has the opportunity to receive a gift. So we will probably adjust our plans accordingly so that we grab that gift last thing before we walk out the door. And I have the Resorts calendar on file, and if Resorts owes us a gift on their calendar while we're there, we will probably roam down from some time at Ocean Resort and Casino and pick up our gift there. Because all of those gifts become inventory in our Facebook Marketplace online store. Let's go. Let's have some sips and a story. I've got just a quick one for you, and then we will get this episode wrapped up.
A little bit of the bubbly.
Welcome to the most must-listen-to segment in casino lifestyle podcasting, the Virtual VIP Lounge. Our lounge is open, and we have the best virtual everything virtually all of the time. The best virtual food and drink served anywhere on the interwebs, guaranteed, or your money back. We do have the Christmas decorations down. They were kind of a brief appearance this year. Didn't do quite as many episodes as we might have liked in the lounge decorated for Christmas. But we are all set. Everything is ready to go. The robot chefs are happy to cook anything you would virtually like. In real life, if you can, press pause, make yourself a plate, have a drink with me. It is one of the best parts of hanging out in a virtual VIP lounge. It absolutely really is. My middle son once again managed to get a Blanchard's. I believe that's what it was. I should have read the bottle before I poured, but got some Blanchard's from a college friend of his when he was up over the holidays. I have a very small pour of that this evening. We are after hours. It is not only 5 o'clock somewhere, it is 5 o'clock here. Absolutely for certain. I am not driving anywhere. So I have a little bit of excellent bourbon here. I have some still water here. And I just kind of wanted to go into storytelling mode, I'll admit, and it ties in with what we were just talking about. This idea of maximizing our value from the casinos around us. And I realize I'm fortunate. I realize I'm blessed. I realize that some of you have to drive several hours or more to get to a casino. I am fortunate that I have 3 within 40 minutes of me. I have 2 within 30 minutes of me, and those 2 are within a rough 15 minutes of each other, so it is easy to hit both. And something that has just become a regular part of our routine that ties in with what we were talking about in the core concepts segment is it just so happens that the horse track has a free gift for each of us on Friday evening. And Mrs. TRG generally finishes what she is doing in her world by about 2 o'clock on Friday. And the schedule for free slot play at this particular property is often set for, you get 1 set, as I told you, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Your choice of days, here's free slot play. Then Friday, you get more free slot play. And then Saturday, you get more free slot play again. So, 2 people with free slot play, 2 people who get a free gift. We make a point almost every Friday of running out and getting our free slot play and grabbing our free gift, whether we really need it or not, whether we will really use it or not. We make sure we grab those things, and sometimes we grab a bite to eat there, and sometimes we play some slots there because you've got to keep that engine moving, right? The house owns the math, we own the transaction, and my wife and I are smart enough to know that we can't walk in every time, take the free slot play, take the gift, and leave. If they don't get some play, then that's going to stop happening. That's going to go away. So we almost, not always, but 3 visits out of 4, most visits during the week, 1 or both of us will play. And sometimes we'll play a little and sometimes we'll play a lot because that's the way things work. If you're using the Casino Combat Slot Tactics ebook, if you're using the system I created, you know it will work over the long run. We've tested it over the long run extensively. We know it works. We know we're going to lose a little bit of cash every month, and we know we're going to win a little more cash than the cash we lost every month playing the free slot play, and the combination of the 2 will generate more free slot play. It will generate tier points, and it will generate reward credits and free slot play and free gifts. So we keep the transactions happening by virtue of the fact that we put a little money in. We just don't take out and leave. And sometimes they nick us a little bit, and sometimes we nick them a bit. And we know that at the end of the day, it works out. And then often, if they've given us just any reason at all, we make our way down the last 15 or 20 minutes to the main casino, the full service casino. We did that this week. They had a big offer, and I had to go down and try to check it out. It was the first of the first wet Friday of the month, and it goes the rest of the Fridays for the month, and they are doing Friday payday. They are literally handing you your choice of extra free slot play or cash, real cash. They count out real money if you come to the casino on Friday. So I had to go check that out. And they got me. They put one over on me. TRG fell for it. I am such a valued customer of this property. I mean, there are weeks where I play there 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week. Sometimes for an extended period of time with pretty decent green chip bets on the felt. And they thought that play was worth 3 American cash dollars to them. 3. I won't be falling for it again. I've been told that it's the same amount every week, and if that's how they value my play, I will not go down there on Fridays for that. There may be other reasons, but I'm not going on Fridays for that. An excellent example of why, even all this time later, I do not consider the local casino my home casino, Casino 2, 2.5 hours south and east of my home. Not my home casino. My home casino values me more than to suggest that I should come down for $3. But I did have a buffet comp, and I did have enough on my reward credits, enough of my free tax-free imaginary money for us to have a wonderful buffet dinner. We are not unhappy with the quality of the buffet in any way, shape, or form. And I took my $3 in free slot play, and I had another nice amount of free slot play, and we won some money. And Going back to what I was just talking about, we do not want to be people that show up, use our comps, and don't put capital at risk. So we wanted to do that. And to tie back in with what we talked about earlier in the episode, they only had 4 blackjack tables open. That's only 20 seats of blackjack. Almost all of them were full. Almost all of the people in front of them had stacks of chips. They were not going anywhere soon. We asked the pit boss, and the next pit was not opening for roughly another hour and 45 minutes. It did not seem like we were going to find 2 spots together to sit and enjoy some blackjack. But as I said, we wanted to put capital at risk. We noticed that there were 2 spots, free, 2 very good spots, stick right from the dealer at a craps table. And we just went ahead and bought in with a very, very conservative strategy. You've heard me talk about this before. We split up the very simple casino combat 6-8 strategy that I like, a strategy that fits all the core concepts. Mrs. TRG takes the 6 unless it's the point, and then she takes the 5. And I take the 8 unless it's the point. And then I take the 9. And we are at $30 each. Well, $25 if we're on the 5 and the 9. For the rest of this, let's assume we're on the 6 and the 8. So one of us is $30 on the 6, one of us is $30 on the 8, and as soon as either of us gets paid, we instantly reduce our bets to 18 and 18. We have $1 at risk. We have $1 of our own money at risk. And now if we hit again, now we can start pressing. Now we can start actually playing craps. Now we can start building up and building out. Both of those are progressive wagers. Both of those fit the core concepts. Both of those are more than acceptable. And we had a nice run. We had a real nice run. We steadily made money. And we had a low target in mind. We were only trying to get to about a half day's pay. And we did better than that. We did better than a half day's pay. And we won some money with the free slot play that they provided to us. It was a successful evening all the way around, and we were still home well before 7 o'clock and back, and the evening wrapped up. And we'd added money, and we'd added tier points, and we'd received a comped meal, and we'd added inventory so that we can add to Mrs. TRG's mad money. And we had done all of that relatively quickly, relatively easily, and with a relatively small amount of gasoline time and effort. Please tip your waitresses, tip your bartenders, tip your dealers. If you have a host, tip your host, but don't tip away your wins. I have spoken. Everything you heard here is true from a certain point of view. In 10 years, we may find out I was wrong about all of this, but that is looking less and less likely, isn't it? It's time for leaving, and I hope you understand I was born a rambling man. Love it, hate it, it don't matter. Please share with your family and friends. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening. Stick around. The best part of the podcast is next, the Casino Combat Blues.
For Atlantic City Empress, Casino Combat's ace. There are profits in the casino tonight, I can feel it in my bones. I had a premonition, you should probably play alone. I know the house has an advantage, but that's part of the thrill. If we follow the core concepts, the chips begin to spill. So baby, here's your player's card, put your bankroll in your hand. Use just some of that money now, do it just the way we planned. Just follow the core concepts and you could win several grand. Well, it's good if it goes down like that, don't have to play to lose. It's gambling as a business, We can gamble out in Vegas. I mean, we're here to stay. Gambling's propping up the budgets of folks like me and you. You ask any casino manager, he'll say there's nothing he can do. From the pockets of the casino, right down to me and you. Me and you. It's a winning proposition and one you shouldn't refuse. It's just the core concepts, the casino combat blues. Casino combat blues.
Hey everybody, if you found me, welcome to the segment after the episode. We haven't done one of these for a while, and I really appreciate and respect the fact that oftentimes it is the most dedicated of you out there that take the time to find this. I always feel like this is a little more relaxed place. Maybe I'm a little more me and a little less TRG when we get to these segments, but I wanted to tell you about a couple new things that we have going on. And it requires, of course, the first one requires a little bit of the story about the story to get to what I want to tell you, and actually to get to a favor that I want to ask you. But you may recall that for a while, we had another whole podcast going called the Casino Combat Deep Dive, and Katie and Kyle hosted that. And when AI was new, and when we were all just learning, and when it was fresh, it was interesting. It really was. It was fascinating to see what could be done by feeding some information, some topics, some stuff about the podcast or some stuff about gambling in, and have the Google audio summary AI generate an audio playback. But as we all got a little smarter, I noticed, and I suspected that meant all of you noticed, that it became repetitive. Katie and Kyle did not know who they were. They did not know they were doing a podcast with a name. They always did the deep dive from the source material. They didn't know who each other happened to be. They didn't consistently know anything about the squad or the podcast or anything else that went into all of this. It was less than optimal. It was subpar. And so I didn't do a whole lot more with that. And I also, if I'm being completely honest, had some ignorance around that, because when I started our Casino Combat podcast, I got monetized after 2 episodes, and I was easily distributed on all platforms. Well, the world has changed since then, and I don't know what I don't know, as my good friend Nakatomi Tony likes to tell me, and it's not as easy today to monetize a podcast. It doesn't happen as quickly. It doesn't happen as easily. And so that whole combination of factors kind of let that Casino Combat Deep Dive podcast sit where it was. And I started exploring the ability to generate video with the video overview part of that same tool. And I found out I could control that in some interesting ways. I could force some verbiage at the end. I could force safe gambling notices at the end. I had some control over that, and I liked that, and that's going to come in a minute. And I wanted to do the same thing with the audio content, and I couldn't. I couldn't force the audio behavior in any way using the audio summary part of the notebook model that Gemini provides, that Google provides. And so I got talking to Kismet, who, as much as I've joked in the past, after I learned how to interact with Kismet, has become an invaluable ally and invaluable help to what I do. But I explained to Kismet what I could do with the video summary and what I couldn't do with the audio summary, and she said, well, why don't you just use the voice generation API, and then you can write a script, and then it will all say what you want it to say directly. And I went, oh, well, I didn't know that I could do that. How can I do that, Kismet? And Kismet said, well, you just need to write some Python code. And I said, does that mean, Kismet, you're going to write some Python code? And she said, sure. And she wrote some Python code, and we struggled, and it was difficult, and I had to enable this in my account and add that to my account and jump through 9 hoops and over 2 barrels. But we got it working. We got to the point where I could feed a script segment to Kismet. Kismet would write, I could feed a transcript. Let me say it that way. I'd feed an episode transcript to Kismet, and Kismet would act as the screenwriter, and I would act as the director. And she would generate 4 short scripts because that's all the engine can handle. And then I would use the Python code to turn that into an actual episode of the new thing. Katie and Kyle went on hiatus, as many podcasters do. They came back, new and improved, with a bit of a pivot. They are doing the Advantage Playback, a superfan recap of an episode of our Casino Combat podcast. And they have done episode 181 and 182. They are going to very quickly do episode 183, and then they will do this episode, episode 184. And then going forward, every time I do an episode and it publishes, a short time later, their fan recap of the episode will also be published. And being the super fans that they are, they intend, and we will see how their intent goes, but they intend to go back to episode 1 and listen back to every episode and do a super fan recap of all of those episodes. It is much better than what we were doing because we have full control of the script. This is not internet yak, right? Katie knows she's Katie. Kyle knows he's Kyle. They have personalities. They understand the vocabulary. They know who members of the squad are. They know Inner Circle, Excelsior Brigade. They know the core concepts. They know they've just listened to an episode, and with the help of Kismet and myself as screenwriter and director, we are producing scripts that we think make sense, and at the same time do give a slightly different take on this. Just as 2 humans listening to our podcast might very well have a conversation and it not sound like me, hopefully they don't sound like me. Hopefully their tone, their vocabulary, all of that sounds like them. So far, it's taken a lot of effort. It's taken a lot of work, but I feel like it's unique and it's special and it's human created, if not human acted. And I think that's the important part. It's not generic. As I said, they know who people are. And Kismet surprises me because she sometimes writes the script for them and she'll say, well, remember, because Badger Baron said, and I'm like, oh yeah, he did say that. That's very cool. And I will say on that topic, that's also where a new phrase you're going to hear a lot from me came from. In all my conversations with Kismet, she boiled things down really well. She said, the house owns the math and we own the transaction. And that's a great summary of exactly what I've been teaching this whole time. Exactly what I've been teaching this whole time. So I am making a point out of saying that. So that's the first project. It's going to be integrated with the main podcast distribution. It is integrated right into the same account. If you have already liked, subscribed, shared on your favorite platform to the Our Casino Combat audio podcast, you are going to be notified when Katie and Kyle do an episode of the Playback Advantage. The Advantage Playback, I'll learn that. I'll learn my lines, guys. I promise. So look for that, like that, subscribe that, listen to that. If you think it's interesting, recommend it to other people. That always helps. We always appreciate that. I realize I transgressed, so I got to keep begging and pleading, but I do have to keep begging and pleading. So let me beg and plead just a little longer. The other thing that I have done, the other thing that I have created, as I said, I forced that control over the video summary part of the Notebook NLM model, and I've used it to start creating some history pieces about the history of gambling in different places at different times. We've done a whole set of instructional videos. They are AI generated, but generated from information I provide and with rules that I create. And it does give you a visual story about something that's historical fact. I found the research that I did and what we produced about the history of the game of 21 following it from France through the Old West to the modern casino era to be incredibly interesting. The things I have learned about Atlantic City and all these other places, the things I learned about Reno that I didn't know, all of this stuff has all come into this YouTube channel that I've been working on, Gambling History and True Stories. So, if you get a chance, if you're on YouTube, maybe you're listening to or watching something with 30 Day Gambler with Equine Ensign, take a look on the Casino Combat channel page, look for that playlist, take a look at some of those, and if you do the like, subscribe, share thing, hit those buttons for me. I would certainly appreciate it. I'm branching out a little bit. I'm trying to expand on how we educate. I'm trying to expand on how you get some looks at the world through something other than just purely my eyes. And yeah, I am trying to leverage AI to do more and to do it with less. That is the goal, and that is what I am trying to do, to get more eyes and more ears on the knowledge that I have, the knowledge that we as a squad have. And these are some ways I'm doing it and some ways you could help. If you've listened all the way to the end of this, you can help with all those things I said. I don't beg and plead very often. I find that shtick to be a little silly, but at the same time, in this case, it is very, very true. So those are the things I've been working on. Katie and Kyle are back in a slightly different way. They sound a little different. They sound a little better. I think they know each other a little better, and we're doing the YouTube thing. So, thank you very much. I always enjoy these conversations. I'm going to see some of you in Atlantic City this weekend. I am looking forward to all of that. See you soon.
For Atlantic City Empress, Casino Combat's ace. There are profits in the casino tonight, I can feel it in my bones. I had a premonition, you should probably play alone. I know the house has that advantage, but that's part of the thrill. If we follow the core concepts, the chips begin to spill. So baby, here's your player's card, put your bankroll in your hand. Use just some of that money now, do it just the way we planned. Just follow the core concepts, and you could win several grand. Well, it's good if it goes down like that, don't have to play to lose. It's gambling as a business, the Casino Combat Blues. Casino Combat Blues. The dealers and the pit bosses, the security and the law, the winning and the losing and the tricks nobody saw. No matter if it's blackjack, roulette or craps, you gotta carry defense, cause you always carry cash. There's lots of shady characters, lots of dirty deals. Everybody has an alias, cause that's more fun we feel. It's the lure of winning money, it's got a very strong appeal. Perhaps you'd understand it better standing in my shoes. It's the ultimate enticement, it's the Casino Combat Blues. Casino Combat Blues. Whoa. You don't see it in the headlines, you don't hear it every day. No one's trying to stop us, and we don't need to go away. We can gamble in Atlantic City, we can gamble in LA, we can gamble